Television Malaysia RTM, the official broadcaster for Asian Malaysia 2025.
We have just witnessed the conclusion of ASEAN Summit with the handing over of the chairmanship from Lao DPR to Malaysia. In his maiden speech, our Prime Minister has expressed gratitude to Lao DPR. And what is more important is, because ASEAN is not a common issue among fellow Malaysians, what does it mean being an ASEAN leader? Joining us in the studio, this Naratif Khas is brought to you live from RTM, is Yang Berhormat Tan Sri Datuk Dr. Johari Abdul, the Speaker of Dewan Rakyat, and also in the studio, Professor Sufian Jusoh, Director of Institute of Malaysia in International Studies, UKM. While online, far away from Sabah, Professor Dr. Asmadi Idris, the Dean of International Relations Program, the Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. Assalamualaikum and welcome to RTM.
Thank you very much. Waalaikumsalam.
Professor.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
If I may begin with Tan Sri, you just returned from the event itself.
Yes,
and but I mentioned earlier, when it comes to ASEAN, it's not a common topic among fellow Malaysians. So considering the profile of our audience tonight, so I think it's most appropriate that I ask you to begin the discussion by elaborating what does it mean being a leadership of ASEAN, being chairman of ASEAN to fellow Malaysians?
Well, I am a chairman of IPAR, meaning to be,
right.
Because ASEAN itself, it has two layers. Number one is the summit level, right. And number two is IPAR. Then the summits are leaders. This is a forum of all ASEAN leaders.
All right. Maybe
Prime Minister or the President. And the other entity is IPAR. Mm-hmm. This is ASEAN Inter-Parliament Assembly, and right. This is where I'm heading.
Okay.
Well, the question, do public really understand what's going on? Mm-hmm. See? Well, initially ASEAN was formed for a reason, because after what happened in Vietnam War, and you can see the Cold War come into the picture.
Yeah.
And our forefathers would like to see this region must enjoy the kind of freedom that we had. We were colonized before. Mm-hmm. And what happened in Vietnam is devastating. What happened in Cambodia, devastating. So the leaders get together and the formation of ASEAN was born.
Okay.
And basically just to get together and should you have problems, why don't you engage, unilaterally or militarily, sit down together, rather than you magnify those problems, then it will not be good for the people of ASEAN, for the region. Mm. So then you can see the birth of ZOFAN, Zone of Peace, Freedom, and Neutrality. But then after the birth of ZOFAN, somehow or other, this region became very peaceful and calm.
Exactly.
And everybody was concentrating on developing our own economy. Yeah. So it doesn't go beyond that, what we call it, nationality.
Okay.
Then the senior leaders are gone by now. Mm-hmm. I think probably among the seniors that we have is Dua Lipa Amalia Tuanku Sultan Brunei, and probably our PMX. Mm-hmm. And the rest are all, I would say, newcomers. Mm-hmm. So again,
outside the Sultan, PMX is the most senior.
Most, at the moment. That's right. They're the most senior.
So as compared to all the other leaders from ASEAN members. Yeah.
So I guess when you have young leaders in each and every one of the ASEAN membership, so the concentration will be on their local issues and development of their own country. So the ASEAN per se will be secondary as far as their thinking is concerned. Right. This is where PMX, during his speech, during the interface, we had an interface meeting in Laos recently, 2 days ago, and he was reiterating how important it is for us to work as a team.
All right.
Because the world is changing, the dynamic is almost impossible now. What's happening, globally. So this is important of us to sit down and chart our next destination, I guess.
Moving on to Prof. Sufian, because Prof. Sufian is also the leader of ASEAN Strategic Partner for the Economic Community. So considering, because I think in his speech, I think a few hours ago, Prime Minister mentioned that we want ASEAN to again become the fourth economic power by 2030. So what does it mean to Malaysia as being a chairman of ASEAN?
I think Malaysia will play a big role because if we look at the numbers, Malaysia is one of the 8 largest trading nations with ASEAN. So that's important, among China, USA, Europe, Japan. Malaysia is one of those. Basically, Malaysia trade with ASEAN. And we have more than 650 million people, more or less, throughout. It's a big market. So that's number one. That is the big opportunity for small and medium companies to participate, to sell their products. That is number one. Number two, we are looking into the 2045. So 2025 chairmanship is very important, not just for Malaysia, but for the ASEAN. But it's a heavy burden on us, on Malaysia, on PMX, on all of us here, on our shoulder, to prove that we are capable of leading ASEAN for the next 20 years. Back to your question about what does it mean to us. I mean, I'm looking at the economic perspective. But we want to discuss what does it mean for the people, the normal people, right? So first, if you want to go to Chiang Mai, you can have direct flight now from Kuala Lumpur to Chiang Mai under ASEAN Open Sky policy. Previously, you have to go to Bangkok, capital to capital. So that is one of the outcome of the ASEAN negotiation for so many years, that people can be connected and it's easier for people to travel. Number two, we are looking into electricity. We don't realize that, but ASEAN has a power grid. So that connects electricity throughout ASEAN member states, and then we want to expand the power grid. So TNB can sell their power to the power grid. Laos, which is the battery of ASEAN, sells the power to the ASEAN power grid. So if there's any problem, we can share the power. So we don't realize that. That is one of the advantages of ASEAN. Another thing is, like Tan Sri mentioned, security. Right? Without the ZOC Fund, without the efforts of our forefathers, we wouldn't have be here. We won't have the peace and security that we want or what we need. We probably have a lot more squabbles among ourselves. One of the reasons why ASEAN was established, because we had problem with the Philippines and Indonesia. So Thailand got so fed up, let's get together and talk about it. So, and that also brings benefit to the economic community, because we are peaceful, we can do trade. And then Malaysia is also one of the destinations for FDI. PMX goes out, attract FDI. But with the ASEAN community, we can sell more products. We have FTAs, we have so many things that make life easier for everybody to trade and to make money. That's most important.
What you just illustrated is that to show how interconnected all the ASEAN members are. So, Prof. Asmadi, let's look at the premiership, or what I mean is chairmanship of ASEAN, because prior to Laos, the Laos DPR is actually the chairmanship helmed by Indonesia. So during Indonesia's leadership, if I'm not mistaken, the emphasis was on digital connectivity, building digital economy. So Laos is looking at the unity and enhancing the economic and the trade. When it comes to our role as the ASEAN chairman, what should be the focus? What is the most pertinent issue need to be addressed? Prof. Asmadi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Brother Said. I think for Malaysia, I think this is not the first time Malaysia become the ASEAN chairman. Because I think first time is in 1977, 1987, 2005, and 2015. So I think Malaysia has massive experience to host ASEAN. So now I think this is the moment for Malaysia to show what Malaysia can show. I mean, to strengthen our regional unity, as well as to face the global crisis. So I think our current Prime Minister has introduced two significant concepts, I think, inclusivity as well as sustainability. So I think these two concepts fit well with the ASEAN diversity, because culturally we are diverse, even religions, but deep down we are very strongly united. Remember, we are during the Cold War, as Tan Sri mentioned, our forefathers, the founding fathers, especially Tun Abdul Razak, introduced the concept of neutrality and non-alignment policy, which I think is the best strategy to face the Cold War between the US and the former Soviet Union. But now, the world is changing again. We are facing with the Ukraine and Russia war, and then don't forget about the US and China, in terms of economic rivalry, and then as well as the other, conflict like Palestine, Rohingya, and so on and so forth. So I think by stressing the inclusivity, the 10 current members of ASEAN, they have their, bigger role to play. And then for the sustainability, we can stress for the, for instance, to end the poverty and then food security, as well as the climate changing, I think. But for ASEAN, brother side, I think Malaysia should focus, this is from my own side, should focus on food security. Along with the digital artificial intelligence, because I think this is the most pressing issue currently. The issue of hunger, global hunger, and don't forget about the pandemic when everyone is panicked. There's rumors that Vietnam stopped exporting their rice, so everyone is panicked. During the pandemic. So I think Malaysia should go for, food security, because we are living in a multi-polar world now. Not really on, of course, security is the top priority. But the security itself, the definition is now expanding. That's including the food security. So rather than stuck with the old issue, for instance, the border issue, security, I think we should brave enough, the ASEAN members, to rebuild this world, ASEAN, and bring the ASEAN front, signal to the world that we can achieve better world, although we are diverse in terms of culture and religion.
I have one question.
Yes, please, Prof.
For Prof. Asmadi, I have a question for you. Because we are in Peninsula Malaysia. Most of things are actively here. But I think next year there will be few meetings to be held in Sabah and Sarawak. So
ASEAN
what does
meeting, you mean?
ASEAN meeting. So what does it mean for our families in Sabah and Sarawak in terms of ASEAN? What is their expectation?
Special question to the Dean from UMS, Prof. Asmadi.
Thank you very much, Prof. Sofian. I think this is one of the challenging questions. But again, I think Sarawak, Sabah, we are, well known for our multiracial community. So that, I think, reflections of the ASEAN itself, where ASEAN is also multiracial and multicultural. So we expect the same thing happen. That is, we will show our unity and to celebrate Malaysia is the ASEAN chairman next year, but we should provide, get ready with the kind of programs that will strengthen our engagement with the ASEAN community. I think Sabah and Sarawak is always ready, even at university level. Now we are planning to kind of propose a few programs that will include young generations as well as the present generations, just to share what is the meaning of ASEAN members. And Prof. Sofian, I think I always believe that ASEAN have their own ASEAN way. I think that's the best recipe for us to come forward to tell the world that we are now ready, to make this world better. Because now the West, as PMX always said, failed to address the human rights issue, humanitarian. So ASEAN should be the best model. And then Sabah, Sarawak, plus the Semenanjung, and we can be, become a strong force in the future.
Right. Considering the size of ASEAN population, 650 million and 3 trillion USD economic size. And also, Prof. Sufian already set the ball rolling. So perhaps maybe when the time comes, Prof. Asmadi can also ask questions to all the other two panelists. But it's time for us to take a short break, and we'll come back immediately after.
Misses you much, Sharina. I'm doing fine here in Malaysia. Malaysia is just nice.
300 for the rent, 200 for 2 absent days. You get 432 for the whole month.
Although sometimes I've got a lot to do at work, just the thought that I could be with you and your mama soon keeps me going here.
That's all. Good.
Told ya, 2 more years you'll be able to pay off your debts. Just let it go, Raji. It happens.
My name is Raji Ahmad. My dear daughter, Rina, forgive me for everything. Don't worry, I'll try my best to come back again.
Saya selalu paksa anak baca buku sebab baca buku kan baik. Hinggalah satu hari. Tak boleh jadi macam mak ke membaca? Asyik main telefon je kerja kamu,
Dan mengedar buku hitam yang mengandungi unsur keganasan, hasutan dan fahaman atau ideologi yang melanggar akal Seksyen 7-1. Ibu bapa dan penjaga dinasihatkan memantau bahan bacaan anak-anak, bukan sahaja bahan...
Aku biarkan kau. Aku ikut semua benda.
Sabarlah, Cik Zai. Bukan anak-anak je yang buat salah. Kadang-kadang kita sebagai ibu bapa pun salah sebab tak pantau apa yang anak kita baca.
Jangan nangis. Nanti Alisha lagi sedih.
Nanti belajar rajin-rajin ya. Terima kasih banyak-banyak Lik Cik Miamah.
Ada masa nanti datang melawat kami ya.
Jangan nangis ya. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.
Tiket siang dah habis, tiket malam je ada pukul 10, boleh?
Boleh.
Welcome back. You're watching Naratif Khas, and we're discussing about Malaysia's ASEAN Chairmanship 2025. And the ASEAN Summit has just recently concluded. We witnessed the handing over of the chairmanship to Malaysia. Our Premier delivered an acceptance speech just now. And in fact, one of our panelists tonight mentioned about no one left behind is one of the pertinent catchphrase being addressed throughout the discussion when it comes to the topic of ASEAN. And in order for us to appreciate the size and the importance of ASEAN economic prowess, perhaps maybe we can share. We have prepared some graphics indicating about the size of the economic size of ASEAN, 3 trillion USD, comprised of 650 million population altogether. And we are just waiting for the inclusion of Timor-Leste, inshallah, soon to come. Joining me in the studio is Tan Sri Dr. Johari Abdul, Professor Sufian Yusof, and also Professor Asmadi. And I think think all the three panelists has already put a lot of pertinent issues on the table. Let's pick one after another. It's just that Prof. Asmadi mentioned one important aspect. This is not the first time, this is not the first round that Malaysia helmed as the chairman of ASEAN. And I think my next question goes directly most appropriate to Tan Sri, because when it comes to leadership, in fact, during our prior discussion, we're talking about leadership. Now is time for not just Malaysia, but Anwar Ibrahim. And that in itself carries a deeper meaning, especially you being closer to Premier, perhaps, Tan Sri. What it means when this time around it's Anwar compared to the previous leadership.
Well, Prime Minister Anwar speak loudly about this issue, how ASEAN should emerge as a dominant entity in this part of the region. And what more, all figures shows that the economic pendulum is swinging to the east.
Yeah.
Whereby the economists and historians were saying that it's going to be Asian.
Yeah.
This is an Asian time. This is an Asian era, where I guess the development and economic development and social development and so many things is shifting to the east. Where you can see there are problems in the West and America. That's why BRICS, good example. You know, it's going to be very important in our life soon. Now, he is calling also the trading among nations to bypass the American dollar, dollarization. Why don't we trade among each other by using our own currency?
Exactly.
Then those are the things that I guess he's propelling this idea, so that even ASEAN can group ourselves as a solid. Then we will be seen to the answer of the world. As you said just now, we are the fourth greatest economy at the moment. So what more we share, I would say, well, the same situation at the moment. If you talk like Prof. Asmadi is saying just now, food security, for example. ASEAN have 680 million people, and we have large land. We have people, 685. Of course, we have country that is cash rich, and this is where we can share the technology, science technologies. We can share the expertise, then research and whatnot, and among these members. And how do we enhance, how we can galvanize this capabilities together to boost. So you are talking about, yes, you are talking about food security. And number two is about renewable energy. You know, equator is just, we have the equator, we have the sun, God-given sun. So what we need to do as the world is having problem with our ozone, and now we should be looking at the alternative energy. And I think we have the capability of producing one, especially the solar, hydrogen, and especially what is happening in Sarawak now. Sarawak have string of capabilities, including now algae, to turn it into the jet fuel. So I guess these are the things that leaders of ASEAN should look into as a group idea, how we can propel this growth of economy together. So I guess with the population that we have, with the technical know-how that we have, and as I said, the pendulum is swinging to the east. These are, I believe, the ingredient to be successful and to be solid. Then the most, I think, of all, we are very peaceful. And this region, we are away from the ring of fire. You know, so I think we should capitalize on that issue. And PMX have been calling for this, and Alhamdulillah. And I guess the response from the ASEAN leaders is very positive. And I guess we got to enhance, especially among the academia. You know, that change of ideas, change of professors and university students. We should crisscross and we go enhance it, so that it become an ASEAN kind of thing rather than individual state members. That's what I'm thinking.
Since Prof. Sofian is also, as I mentioned earlier, the leader of ASEAN strategic economic partner. So the issues of food security, energy are not new to us. But when we're discussing this, you know, in the realm of ASEAN, how do we effectively address this? And the other thing is that every chairmanship, they have their own focus. And what is more important when it comes to renewable energy or even food security, there must be continuity. You know, it has to there has to be a clear operational structure to make it work when it comes to ASEAN. So, how best should we handle that as a chairman?
Okay, I think let's go back to the theme of what the Prime Minister mentioned: inclusivity and sustainability.
Right.
Right. When we look at inclusivity, not only we are looking at we don't want to leave anyone behind, but what we need to do is to get everyone involved.
Okay.
We don't want to leave everyone behind, but everyone must be involved. So let's look at, for example, food security. We have, Malaysia is one of the biggest importers of food, 4 billion ringgit a year. So how do we then integrate ourselves?
Okay.
Because like Prof. Asmadi mentioned, during COVID, Vietnam, Thailand, all of a sudden say, look, I'm not selling you rice.
Okay.
What happened if the COVID extended, right? So ASEAN leaders during COVID issued a statement on the food security. So what we need to do is to carry those forward during our chairmanship.
Okay.
So we need to look into how do we integrate ourselves, how do we produce more food, and for those who have the technology to share their technology on agriculture, digitalization of agriculture. So I'm sure there will be a new work plan that will secure ASEAN food security towards 2045.
Okay.
All right. If we look at the producers of food, they come from the lesser developed ASEAN member states like Myanmar, for example.
Right.
We need to resolve the issue in Myanmar, not just about the politics, but they are one of the largest producers of rice in the world. And then Vietnam and Thailand, of course, they are peaceful, they can produce rice. But we need to resolve Myanmar for the sake of the whole community.
Okay.
Right. And then we need to assist them with our technology. Malaysia is very good. We have Madi and all those stuff, so they can share.
Yeah.
So on food, right? And then looking into the question of sustainability, technology plays a very important role. Many of us, many of ASEAN member states are technology adopters. We are followers. What we need to do is to turn ourselves into technology front runners. How do we then increase capability on, say, semiconductor? Semiconductor is a big thing. Chip war. If we get involved in the chip war, we are practically in trouble. So we have countries with critical mineral. They can contribute to the early stage of the chip making. And then we have countries who have the R&D capability. We have member states who are like us, Malaysia, who has like all the capabilities in semiconductors. So how do we get then people from Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaysia? Malaysia and Singapore are the top players. But we need to get everyone to be involved. So those are examples of inclusivity and sustainability looking into the long term.
Yeah. Prof. Asmadi, let's not forget Prof. Asmadi he is far away from Sabah. Prof. Asmadi, since we are talking about trade bloc and economic prowess, the issue here, a long-standing challenge among ASEAN countries is that intra-ASEAN only represents perhaps maybe 30%, which is not
very
healthy.
Little.
We are not depending enough across ASEAN members, and our leadership maybe goes up until 12 months perhaps or so. So what's the most pragmatic and practical effort need to be done in order for us to provide the foundation for a better economic integration among ASEAN countries?
Okay, thank you. I think this is the old issue actually for the side. I mean, there's low economic interactions between, especially between developing countries. Not only ASEAN, even among OIC, because our perspective on development still on the technology, high technology. So that's why we. I mean, most of the developing countries, including Malaysia, the focus more on developed country. But now, I mean, I think Malaysia has learned lesson, even ASEAN. I mean, after the post-1997 Asian financial crisis, where at that time we really understood that Malaysia and ASEAN those countries that hit by the Asean crisis, they need to enhance their market. They need to look for new market. So now, Malaysia and ASEAN expanding their economic markets. Like Middle East, South Caucasian countries, even among ASEAN. But yet again, since all ASEAN, we are trading nations, right?
Yeah. So
by merely looking at ASEAN market, of course, we will not survive. We will not survive.
Yeah.
But since 2025, inshallah for the coming 5 years, the economic world is going to be not stable because of the China and US rivalry. So I think ASEAN should take this opportunity by not just focusing by focusing on ASEAN, US markets, Western market, but as well as they need to strengthen their economic relation with China. And then I think our PMX, our Prime Minister also have done by touring us some Central Asian countries like Kazakhstan or those Turkmenistan. I think it is the best strategy for Malaysia in ASEAN to expand their market.
Right.
But again, if we focus more on what we have discussed before, for instance, food security, renewable technology, because we have a lot of potentials. So I think this is the way that probably ASEAN can push for greater economic cooperation among themselves.
Yeah. I noticed that when you're mentioning about the Central ASEAN, Prof. Sophian already jot down a few notes, but we'll give him a chance to explain. Let's not forget about ASEAN, GCC plus China as well.
I was about to talk about it.
Okay, thank you very much. But it's time for a short break. Please stay tuned.
Adik, kan apa Papa cakap?
Malaysia Madani bermula dari langkah-langkah kecil. Jangan membazir air, guna dengan bijak. Jimat air untuk masa depan.
Betul.
Guna peralatan tenaga rendah. Jimatkan elektrik, guna sumber alami jika ada. Belajar hidupkan diri. Tanam sayur, tanam buah. Kalau jadi apa-apa kan, kita ada sumber makanan sendiri. Dah ada sumber sendiri, kita masak sendiri. Jom main lagi kerja ni. Jom pergi sekolah.
Nak hidup lebih madani?
Wow!
Kurangkan jejak karbon kepada alam. Jom sihat dan zero karbon.
Malaysia Madani bermula dengan langkah-langkah kecil.
Hujung bulan lagi, duit yang dicari tidak memadai. Belanja setiap hari, FEN di sini, teman yang sejati dengan ikhlas hati membantu anda berdikari. Sama-sama mendidik diri, bijak-bijak urus wang dengan informasi. Suka duka bersama kita tempuhi. Jangan jadi mangsa penipuan. Hati-hati apabila buat keputusan.
Sama-sama didiklah diri dengan FE Network Financial Education Network agar anda bijak wang dalam segala aspek kewangan. Layari fenetwork.my atau kunjungi kami di Facebook, Instagram dan YouTube.
Segalanya duit best dengan FEN.
Kerajaan Malaysia melalui kertas putih di Parlimen telah mengisytiharkan bahawa ISIS, IS atau Daesh adalah sebuah kumpulan pengganas. Kumpulan pengganas ini menerbitkan pelbagai jenis produk propaganda berbentuk risalah, video, cakra padat, baju, majalah, bendera dan poster bagi tujuan menyebarkan ideologi mereka. Sekiranya didapati memiliki barangan yang berkaitan dengan kumpulan pengganas, anda akan dikenakan tindakan undang-undang serta didakwa mengikut Seksyen 130JB, /1/A dan /B Kanun Kesiksaan. Penjara maksimum 30 tahun dan denda jika disabit kesalahan. Fanatik dan taksub beragama pencetus kepada ekstremis dan radikalisme. Bersama kita memelihara keamanan negara.
Welcome back. You're watching Naratif Khas live and we're discussing about Malaysia's ASEAN Chairmanship. What's not visible to our audience is that most of the time our discussion behind the scene is more intense and deep. So joining me in the studio is Tan Sri Dato' Johari Abdul, Professor Sufian Juswa and also Professor Asmadi Idris. Prof. Asmadi concluded his deliberations with regards to the strategic economic positioning of ASEAN as compared, because Tan Sri mentioned earlier about the shifting of power. Economic power is moving to Asian. And we pointed a number of things, including ASEAN, GCC plus China. So I think it's important, it's most appropriate that we elaborate a bit more about the strategic positioning of ASEAN's economic standpoint. And also considering that the latest development in our trade in Malaysia, whereby Malaysia is fast becoming a semiconductor hub, thanks to our Premier, who is also a very effective marketeer. Tan Sri, how do you see this?
Well, with what is happening in Europe and in America, and certainly we should take a position of that. And PMX keep on saying that we are a trading nation. You know, we might have differences with few countries and few superpower, but in reality we are a trading nation. We like to be friendly to everyone. So that's why when America have different perception on what's happening in China and some what I call it the assumption what's happening in China too, then the Chinese feel that, well, they have other options. That's why they move to Malaysia to invest, and eventually this is what's happening. We take advantage of that, including Taiwan, for that matter. So I guess that will more be happening soon. Because now people see that among the peaceful region is here in ASEAN. I mean, do you go to some other places that you're not very sure of the political stability? So these people with money, and they are traders, and they are business people, they want to make sure that their investment are safe. So I guess that's why PMX have keep on saying that we should and we must believe in ourselves that this region should stay peaceful. And we should declare ourselves we are a peaceful nation that do trading with. So that's why when American was talking about China and Taiwan, we don't get involved. Even though there's a lot of pressure from the outside world, how we should be looking at Myanmar. We say, look here, we want to engage with them. We cannot impose whatever we feel on Myanmar because nobody knows what, I mean, in depth what's going on in Myanmar. So let's engage. Let's open up all windows and doors and talk to them. Because if you start, giving pressure to Myanmar, then there are things that you are uncertain.
ASEAN statement seems like mellow down a bit.
Mellow down. We have to, because we would like to, number one is to contain that problem that they have on their turf, that's all. Do not go beyond. So I believe, and I strongly supported the move by the ASEAN leaders that engage with them. After all, it's not yesterday's problem. The problem has been there for years. So why rush? That's number one. Number two, as you said just now, it's true. This is an Asian century where all investors feel that this is safe haven, and every country understand, and we have our tolerance level is very high.
Exactly.
With multicultural, multi-religious background and whatnot. But we are able to live. And I had the opportunity of meeting almost many leaders and speakers of ASEAN countries. They say, propel from here, because we started doing well at the moment, and I think we should stay that way. And what is important, as I've been talking to Prof. Sofian, let's explore other areas like academia, for example. We have so much research done, but it's kept in particular universities.
Exactly.
Why don't we open up the windows and the doors to other students from other regions and also among ASEAN members, so that we can together galvanize the strength that we have among all the universities. If we can do that, and I guess not only the exchange of ideas, but physical exchange of students, that will tremendously help the ASEAN situation. I think if we can do that. In fact, you have started doing that.
We have
started doing that.
I think Prof. Sofian is already spearheading a number of
initiatives.
Now, we've been discussing all the rosy aspects of ASEAN strategic positioning. But if we may recall together, Prof. Sofian, prior to COVID, we were so upbeat about ASEAN community. But that, flagship has slowly, leaving the front line. So, what are the actual hurdle for us to make ASEAN community materialized?
I think one of the biggest issues facing ASEAN community is the level of understanding what ASEAN community is all about.
The members,
among the people first, right?
Among the rakyat of all.
Among the rakyat. We did a study earlier this year, IKMAS, together with area. Tan Sri went with to area. We did a study. My researchers even went to the remote areas. Among the newer ASEAN member states, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, they understand ASEAN more. But among the older versions, older member states like Malaysia, Singapore, ASEAN practically is of low priority.
I see.
Because we are so exposed to other things. So other regions, other part of the world. The newer ASEAN member states, they look up to ASEAN as for them to move forward, as a stepping stone. For us, we have to galvanize, I think moving forward, we have to galvanize, we have to reinvent the reason why ASEAN need to exist. That's why this is a big challenge for our chairmanship in 2025, because we have to create a long-term vision for next 20 years. All right. Then I would like to respond to, continue about Myanmar. I went to Myanmar in 2012. I was involved in creating a new economic model for Myanmar when the new government came during Aung San Suu Kyi. But I think I read the statement by Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan that Malaysia wants to play a big role in getting Myanmar back into the fold. I think this is important because we have the history. Tan Sri Razali Ismail was our envoy, and then Datuk Sri Syed Ahmed Alba, Tan Sri Syed Ahmed Alba was also involved. So we have the history of making things happen. So we should get Myanmar back into the fold, but everyone must be on the same table, on the same area. That's important.
Prof. Asmadi, I think I would like to bring the discussion to the issue of territorial dispute, particularly in the South China Sea. Since Prof. Asmadi represents UMS, I think it appeals most to Prof. Asmadi and Sabahan and also Sarawakian conscience. When it comes to territorial dispute, in particular South China Sea, we have China on one side and the rest of ASEAN members perhaps maybe on the other. So now it comes to the time when Malaysia is the chairman of ASEAN. How best should we maneuver this issue? But we're going to take a short break and we'll be back with a response from Prof. Asmadi.
Tahukah anda apa itu ICPT yang tertera pada bil elektrik anda? ICPT ialah imbalance cost pass-through atau pelepasan kos tidak berimbang. Dengan adanya ICPT ini, ia membolehkan kos bahan api sebenar dan kos penjanaan lain diselaraskan setiap 6 bulan berdasarkan turun naik harga bahan api dunia. Apa impak ICPT pada kita? Jika terdapat penjimatan dalam kos bahan api, kita akan diberikan ribat ICPT iaitu pengurangan terhadap kadar tarif yang dibayar. Sebaliknya, sekiranya terdapat kenaikan kos bahan api, surcharge akan dikenakan iaitu penambahan terhadap tarif elektrik. Bagaimana kita boleh mengurangkan bil elektrik? Mudah, amalkan penggunaan yang cekap dan berkhemah. Ia bermula dari rumah kita.
Selamat hari jadi, selamat hari jadi, selamat hari jadi, selamat hari jadi. Ingat hari jadi, ingat doktor gigi.
Gigi yang sihat membantu pengenyahan makanan, senyuman yang menawan dan bertutur dengan lancar. Ingat hari jadi, ingat doktor gigi.
We're discussing about Malaysia's ASEAN Chairmanship, and I posed a question to Prof. Asmadi before our short break with regards to Malaysia's Chairmanship and territorial dispute. Prof. Asmadi.
Yeah, this is a very common issue. And then, of course, it's a very challenging issue, and it's hard to resolve, especially among the ASEAN members, as well as when the China intervened, claim South China Sea so part of her territory. So, but as I mentioned earlier, ASEAN and ASEAN community has their own principle to resolve issues. What may be called ASEAN way, although I mean, some might argue ASEAN way no longer relevant, but it is still there. When we're talking about the ASEAN way, means the most important principle for ASEAN is non-interference policy or non-intervention policy.
Okay.
This is I think the strategic approach or framework for ASEAN, how to at least avoid among ASEAN members from engaging conflict and disputes, especially on the territories. Because not only South China Sea, even Sabah still claimed by the so-called Warisulu, for instance, and from the Philippines government. But Malaysia is always ready to fight, to stem our sovereignty. Sabah is part of Malaysia. But in terms of South China Sea, we can't, ASEAN cannot play aggressive way. Because we are peace-loving nation. We are, always come to the negotiation table, but we're very active. in what they call involved in dialogue and prefer to resolve conflict peacefully.
Okay.
But with the coming of China, for instance, is one of the biggest nations currently. Of course, we need some kinds of other intervention from US, for instance, just to balance the hegemony of the China over the South China Sea. So that will be balanced. So ASEAN will always play our role as the regional biggest bloc in, Southeast Asia.
Right.
But of course, we need help from US and China. In other words, we don't invite them to create the so-called Cold War. But with the intervention from the US, and it will, to some extent, will calm down China aggressiveness. This is what I mean for the side.
Yeah.
So in other words, ASEAN will continue to play their ASEAN way, non-intervention policy, more diplomatic, but at the same time will always welcome, the help from the United States of America.
Yeah. Probably it's more strategic that the issue of territorial dispute is being put under the work in progress folder.
Yeah.
It would be good for everyone, perhaps, maybe.
I have one question to Tan Sri. You are going to be the president of IPA for the year 2025. So what is your expectation or what do you want to do with IPA? Especially, we're dealing with MPs, and MPs are the closest to the people. We, at the advisory level, at the government level, we are like getting a plan at the executive side. But you are the closest to the people. What is your expectation?
Well, of course, number one is to make sure that everybody is on board. That either they are MPs from Malaysia or other state members, they should be on board. This is where, I guess, exchange of ideas, having programs and friendship groups should play a very important role here. We should be sending more of our MPs to the ASEAN members, and we'll be inviting them to come to our parliament to have exchange of ideas. That's number one. Number two, I'm looking at investing on the youth. We must invest on the youth.
Okay.
Meaning to say that the parliaments of every member state should play an active role in propelling the idea of ASEAN. As I said, I do that now, that I go to university, talk to the university, to the youth, to the students, almost every month now. And you never forget that ASEAN agenda has to be inserted into your talk. Because at the end of the day, they are going to be the leader of the future. You and I will go, but this has to be continued.
Okay.
So that continuity is very, very important. And beside that, I guess number three is that we should engage. No, the legislative should engage more with the executive to tell the executive what do we do. I know we should not be. Well, we are parallel, yes, certainly, but nevertheless, we should engage more.
Okay.
The feeling of the legislative and the executive should be on pace.
But I think one of the most important aspects is how parliamentarians, especially among the Malaysian MPs, is going to get involved in the preparation of the Vision 2045 strategic plan. So it's not just about talking and explaining, but maybe we can have a group of people, MPs, a caucus of MPs from various parties to come and say, look, okay, these are the things that we think should benefit the people. Or we think that the government of all the member states should do for the next 20 years.
Well, yes, I guess most of the parliament have their select committees.
Okay.
And I check, most of the select committees do have these programs. The only thing is how we intensify it. For example, giving you an example on, as I said, renewable energy. there are also group in Thailand have the what I call select committee on that, and Cambodia they have. So now what we need to do is just put all these programs together and make it an ASEAN issues, make it an ASEAN program. Rather than you just confine it to your parliament, but make it an ASEAN parliament issues. Then we can work together and we advise the executive. These are the things that we are looking at as far as MPs are concerned.
Since we're talking about this, the only thing is that the chairmanship goes only up until 12 months or maybe 1 year. There are some issues need to be addressed beyond the time limit of 1 year. Also, I mentioned earlier about Indonesia focusing on the digital economy. Laos is enhancing unity. So, post Malaysia leadership, what do you expect?
Well, that's why I say I believe there's an ASEAN Secretariat.
Okay.
ASEAN Secretariat entrusted to follow through all this planning, and they have timeline to do it. They say we have to intensify that ASEAN Secretariat so that we'll be more aggressive, more productive. That's number one. But number two, I still keep on saying that universities. Universities must play their role. Because in terms of the ability of doing things much faster and better, how the universities compared to government agencies?
Can I answer on that?
Yes.
Yeah, we just only have 1 minute left at our disposal.
Basically, we have the Ministry of Higher Education. So they need to play a role on research and development, technology advancement, talent development. These are the three issues.
It's practical to be done within a year?
Yeah, can be done. Because what we need to do, we prepare for the legacy project.
That's right.
So this year is not just for 1 year. We have to prepare activities for the next many years to come.
I'll support that all on. Because this has to be, the academia got to play much better role because it's going to be there. This is, I would say, a long-term project. It's not one-off. This is where the ministry had to put more effort and more money looking at that. This is strategic. This is strategic issues.
Right.
Or else you just, 1 year then it's thing over, then someone else become chairman, then he just...
Because the current undergraduates will be the leaders of ASEAN.
Exactly.
But how do you feel when you are attending the sessions in the campuses itself? What's the response from the leaders, I mean students, the youngsters?
Now you got to tell them a different story. It's about opportunity.
Right.
You cannot...
But they are already a global community, considering that the internet, but whether they have the mindset of thinking about ASEAN or not.
But the ASEAN horizon is right in front of you.
Exactly.
It's just in front of you.
Please come back for more deliberations. Thank you very much to Tan Sri and also Prof. Sufian, as well as Prof. Asmadi. How I wish Prof. Asmadi is here together with us in the studio, hoping that you can come back for another session. And thank you for all our audience today. Assalamualaikum, salam ibah. Jumpa lagi in the next Naratif Khas.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.